Exponential functions look similar to what we have seen before, in that they involve exponents, but the big difference is that the variable now has a power. In an exponential function, the independent variable, or x value, is the exponent, while the base is a constant. The formula for an exponential function is y equals a b to the power of x, where a and b are the constants. With the exponential function, you can calculate a lot of things. One example is that you can calculate the population of a city if you have the number of people and the annual rate of increase. Here we are showing the graph of y equals 2 to the power of x. It's not very different from normal functions, but it does have some differences, and here are some of the properties. This graph passes through a point 0, 1, and the domain is all real numbers. The range is y is greater than 0, and the graph is always increasing. As you can see, it curves from the negative numbers to the positive numbers.
The Chernobyl disaster was a nuclear explosion caused by a nuclear meltdown in what is now the Soviet Union. This meltdown was caused by the overheating of one of the reactors and the poor containment of this overheating. The nuclear core was overheated and thus it exploded, scattering radioactive material across Ukraine and the affected area. The Chernobyl nuclear disaster was a disaster that could have been prevented if the security guards and the security team could have predicted and measured the radioactive decay and the overheating of the reactor. If this wouldn't have happened, the world also couldn't have known the dangers of nuclear energy and how long radioactive decay in an exponential decay form will take to clean itself up. The radioactive material that was scattered across Ukraine and the affected area, mainly the village of Pripyat, which was besides the Chernobyl nuclear plant, will have a time of decay. This time of decay could be interpreted as a logarithm.
Am I aware that there is a nuclear energy plant in Mexico? Yes, I am aware. It is located in the coast of the Gulf of Mexico in Alto Lucero, Veracruz. I think it is safe, and I agree with an energy nuclear plant to be in our country because it decreases our dependence on fossil fuels and produces little waste.
The half-life and the recurrent material that will be after the Pripyat explosion can be given in a way that can be concurrent with exponential decay. Exponential decay is when the material will decay or reduce itself in an exponential manner depending on the exponential that has the number. In this way, it will proportionally be a curve down in a graph way. This formula indicates how the n, which means the initial mass of the radioactive material, will decrease by the 1/2, which means the half-life, which is in an exponential way, t, which means the time, over t 1/2, which means the half-life.
Exponential growth is a phenomenon that occurs when the growth rate of value of a mathematical function is proportional to the function's current value, resulting in its growth with time being an exponential function. Exponential decay occurs in the same way when the growth rate is negative. In this case of a decreased domain of definition with equal intervals, it is also called geometric growth or geometric decay. The function values forming a geometric progression in either exponential growth or exponential decay. The ratio of rate of change and the quantity to its current size remains constant over time. That's population growth. Bank rate, also referred to as the discount rate in American English, is the rate of English which a central bank charges on the loans and advances to a commercial bank. The bank rate is known by a number of different terms depending on the country and has changed over time in some countries as the mechanism used to manage the rate have changed. Whenever a bank has a storage of funds, they can typically borrow from the central bank based on the monetary policy of the country. The borrowing is commonly done via repos, where a repo rate is the rate at which the central bank lends short-term money to banks against securities. This is bank rate.